All right, what's going on? I'm going to show you guys how I made $5,000 on the day across 9 accounts. Um, so today, we obviously came down, swept out all this liquidity, broke out of this range that we've been in for so long. Um, we did open low. We had a new week opening gap that was unfilled on NQ, but it was filled on ES here on this candle. So we did have an SMT, but one thing that I do want you guys to take away from this is SMTs with new week opening gaps don't matter that much because it's such an imbalance in price that typically you're going to see price come back to that on both of them to fill the entire new week opening gap. So with that being said, this SMT right here where it took new week opening gap on ES and NQ came down, I was still fairly confident that we were going to come back up and at least test it on NQ. So that was kind of my mindset. We also had London and Asia Low as open draws with a 1 hour unmitigated fair value gap that was right here prior to market open. um, so we did have some draws lower. And then that 1 hour, we had new week opening gap. But unfortunately for us, market open decided to go right to that uh like literally right at market open we instantly exploded to new week opening gap, so that draw was no longer. We now have open session liquidity and an unmitigated 1 hour below us with very little draws besides filling new week opening gap above us. So with that, I saw the reaction that we were getting from after tapping into the new week opening gap, and I saw that it was starting to show bearish pressure, and we have one, two, three, four, five relative equal lows. That could be a very good draw on liquidity, especially from moving from a major liquidity pool. So, with that being in mind, with the session liquidities below that, making this to be low hanging fruit, if we're just going to target that, is let's see, the highest time frame gap. Yes, we have 1 minutes right here. Yep, we have that. But do we have a 2 minute? Let's see. Yes, we have a 2 minute gap. Now, do we have a 3 minute gap? Yes, we do right here. We have a 3 minute gap right here. There's a 3 minute inverse. And then, do we have a 5 minute? No, no 5 minute gap. So the 3 minute is the highest time frame fair value gap that we're looking to inverse, which we eventually do. It looks fast on the 3 minute, but we still do have some green candles. But this candle right here is what really made me think that we were going to displace through this range and come back down and sweep out some liquidity. And then that's when I started really looking for the 3 minute inverse, which it did. Entered as soon as the 3 minute inversed. My stop was a bit above this. It was above here, still a 1.5. After reviewing it, probably should have just been above this inverse because there's no reason that we should go back up, tap the inverse, and move back higher to go back lower. It doesn't make sense on why the market would want to do that. So that would have been a two RR. So with that, dropped down to the lower time frame to see how we reacted while we were in the trade. Went down, and then this part was really sketchy because we came back up, came back up, came back up, came back up, and then after we were here. So one thing I also want to mention is at my first break even here, I added a contract. I started with 3 micros, and then I added a contract. Kind of wanted to start implementing some kind of adding into your position to make your winners bigger. But with that, I also trailed my stop loss to where I would have been break even, and I would have still been at like minus 100 if we did reverse from there. So I was now in for an even higher contract, and then when we moved below this low here, we I went completely break even wherever my break even was. It was like just a few points below what the actual one was, but we then kind of chopped around. I had my target right here, right where this candle was. Um, but I did close it early. I closed it like somewhere around here, which it was still whatever, like 50 points, still above a 1-to-1, even what I was risking before. Um, more than a 1-to-1. So I was more than happy with that. Obviously, I made plenty of enough money. Could have held out for another 12 points, which would have been another 150 on each account. Um, but because we were being so choppy, these weird candles, that's something that I just want to see us flush through, flush through, flush through, flush through. And on the 3 minute, it looks great, but then obviously as soon as we tap that, we wick super higher. So it was kind of weird price action. Glad I did what I did. Secured that profit after seeing the reactions of the market. More of a discretionary close. I definitely recommend just holding either break even or making money. With that, I also closed a couple of my evaluations earlier, some later, some. um, so yeah, that was the trade, a 3 minute inverse after. Oh, I didn't even talk about this SMT. So when we moved back up, we SMT'd the new week opening gap that ES did tap into, and and then when NQ did tap into it, ES was still lower, and we were not pushing higher on that whatsoever. So that also looked like a bearish signature in price action, an SMT. So high time frame, um, liquidity pool, major liquidity pool. We had a nice V shape out of there. We had the highest time frame inversion. We were targeting an unmitigated 1 hour fair value gap that also had open session liquidity below that, making that low hanging fruit. And we secured profit. And that's how we made 5,000 on the day. Going to continue on. Um, yeah, we'll lock in, continue doing what we're doing. We're in a good spot.